Animated Vega-Lite is a system for rapidly prototyping both animated and interactive visualizations. To illustrate the affordances of a low-viscous approach to interaction and animation, such as being able to easily switch from one to another, we present the demo of Amani, an ornithologist from Birdwatchers America. Amani is planning a new bird watching expedition for her company and is interested in digging into her data to better understand where they should go. Amani has a bird migration dataset comprising the average latitudes and longitudes for a variety of bird species for every day of the year. To ensure a productive trip, Amani wants to study these patterns and uncover how they correspond to different times of the year and geographic regions within the United States. Now, Amani is going to use the Vega editor to be able to analyze her data.
Amani opens the Vega editor to begin her analysis. She pastes in a sample Vega spec that shows a static map. Here, she can now be able to do additional alterations, which will result in her animated and interactive visualizations. The first thing that Amani is going to do is go over and make it a bit more interactive. She adds a parameter that highlights a line on mouse over, and then also is going to add in an additional opacity encoding to the encoding channels. Running her spec, she sees her new visualization, which is now interactive on mouse over. As she hovers over the paths, they're highlighted inside of the map visualization. But this isn't sufficient for Amani, and she needs to be able to see a bit more of the temporal values of when these paths are overlapping. So she goes over to her editor and begins editing to be able to get an animated view. Improving the opacity and setting it equal to 1, as we're only going to be showing circles for each of the birds. Amani begins to make the edits necessary to create the animated visualization by adding in a window frame parameter that has a trailing window of 5 days ahead and 5 days behind the average latitude and longitude for each bird. This will give her a trailing window to see on average where the birds will overlap. Playing through the new animation, Amani is able to see this new view and can better understand where and when these bird species are overlapping across Northern America. This view is a good starting point, but Amani needs to be able to bump up the size of her markers to better see them. She also decides to scale in to better target the part of the visualization that's interesting to her, the United States. Now, inside of this view, she can get a better idea of where the birds are going, but she wants additional control over the animation and wants to interact with the points. So she adds in a current frame, which allows for her to be able to create both a pause button as well as a slider inside of her animated visualization. She changes her parameter that used to be on mouse over to highlight a species to now just be an on-click event so that she can directly select the birds that are of interest to her. Then she also changes the size to be able to better show the birds on side of her map view and to show that when highlighted, those birds species will be a little bit larger than before. Running her new visualization, she is able to see all of the different bird species going up and down across their migration paths. Pausing the visualization and then editing with the time slider, she is able to control the animation, directly seeing where and when those birds are overlapping. Identifying Pensacola, she pauses the animation and then starts to multi-select the birds that are passing through that area. This gives Amani a little bit of a better understanding of where these birds are precisely, and then she can use the time slider to look at where they're coming from. As you can see in the visualization, these birds come through all out of Canada and cross through Pensacola.